investigation shows that he had something to do with it. I have all those emails that Tia had sent you, okay? And in those emails, she talks about yours and hers relationship. The interesting part, though, is that he implicated you in it.
Meet Tia Young and Harvey Lee, two secret lovers turning on each other after killing an innocent man, George Young. And no matter how desperately they try to get away,
I don't know anything about what happened that night, nothing.
I like to exercise my right, don't plead the fifth.
but soon detectives will discover a series of clues that will prove this was never just about taking George's life.
You were the mastermind behind all of this, and it was your idea because you wanted the $1 million life insurance policy.
I did not have anything to do with George's death, and definitely nothing dealing with him wanting him dead for money.
Around 11:31 p.m. on November 16, 2017, detectives received a panic call from 42-year-old Tia Young. According to her, she heard 2 loud gunshots and found her husband, 43-year-old George Young, lying on the ground outside their home. But dispatchers immediately noticed something strange when they asked her to attempt CPR on George. She refused to go anywhere near his body, allegedly because she was squeamish. One would normally forget their fear of blood when they see their lover on the brink of life or death. Instead, Tia handed the phone to an unknown male who claimed that he was already administering CPR. By the time first responders arrived, they found George lying face up and unresponsive, with a gunshot wound to the head. His keys were still in the front door, which was closed, indicating he was shot from behind just as he was entering the house. Scrambling for clues, officers soon identified 38-year-old Harvey Timothy Lee, the man who claimed he was attempting CPR on George. Not only that, but Tim also told officers that he had been living at the home with Tia and George. But what exactly was another man doing living at a married couple's home? Digging into Tia's emails and messages, detectives realized that Tim wasn't staying there to put a roof over his head. He was staying there because he was having an affair with Tia. By April 2, 2018, detectives were confident the two had something to do with George's murder and brought them in for an interview. This footage was provided to us by Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office.
Now, the last time that we talked, obviously, when we were in here, and I think you were here with Sergeant Millsap, there were some inconsistencies that we talked about at that point. So this is like, what is it, the third or fourth time we talked?
Yeah.
All right.
Once in the car, twice.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Well, this makes the second time.
Okay. So, like I said, I want to deal with that in a minute, but I want to talk to you and just kind of go over the story one last time because, like I said, at this point, that's where we're at. But before I can do that, because it's the third or fourth time you've been brought up here, okay, I'm going to have to read you your rights because you know you were listed as a suspect before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to do that and then we can talk, all right? So kind of walk over. I had a chance to review the 911 call, okay? So kind of just go back over, because it kind of helps to get more of a play-by-play, because it's kind of hard when you guys tell us and we can't remember, but when I can listen to it, I can kind of figure out what's going on. Talk to me about the what happened that night and where you were at and all that. I know we've gone over it several times, but just kind of walk me through it again, okay?
That was several months ago.
Yeah, well, just what you can remember. Sometimes people remember things they didn't the first time around, so... And you may say something now that will be like, okay, that helps me. So.
Yeah, I got a bad memory though from sleep apnea.
Okay.
Shoot. That night, the 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
I ran inside. Well, actually, turned back around.
Mm-hmm.
I ran inside. Told Tia, look. Pick up the phone, call 911.
Okay. So you were at the table, right?
Yes.
Sitting on the laptop. So she, at some point you saw her. Now when you went to the front door, you looked out the window and that's when you saw it was George, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At what point did you go out the door?
When I went back up and came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I went out.
With the gun? Like you had put it, when you were putting it back or when you were bringing it down?
Bring it down.
Okay. And then you put it back. And when did you see Tia again? At what point did you?
She was talking to dispatch,
Mm-hmm.
and I was out there and just kind of shaking them, George,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. She said, I heard her frankly said, my brother's out there, got it out. So
Mm-hmm.
she said, T, the lady on dispatch wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So came back in, got the phone from her, and she asked me if I know how to do CPR. I said, no, I don't. And then she walked through it.
Okay. At what point did the neighbor come over there?
Doing the part where I was trying to perform CPR.
Okay. All right.
And then she actually took over.
She took over there, right?
Before moving any further, let's quickly put Tim's account into perspective. According to him, he was sitting at the kitchen table when he heard 2 gunshots. He then got his gun from one of the bedrooms and walked outside to find George dead. Strangely, he walked back inside to leave his gun first instead of helping a dying man. Then he came out and allegedly attempted CPR with assistance from 911 dispatchers until a neighbor came and took over. However, there is only one problem with this story. Investigators later found no physical or timing evidence that CPR was performed while dispatchers were guiding Tim.
Have you and Tia talked about this much since then? What are conversations you guys have had?
Yeah, it's been crazy because the way we were treated, but she's a real lightweight, so she took it all to heart. And I explained to her, look, we gonna get hit with 3rd degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's only to be expected. She was like, but they didn't have to cuss at me, they didn't have to do all this and that. And I'm like, well, true, but you know, there's no law stating that they can't.
Yeah. So she was concerned, I guess, the way she was treated at the house.
At the
The way that
house,
she was
here,
okay. And she was talked to.
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
She was almost.
Really? Did she get help for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, everybody just pulled together and just tried to help one another out.
So one of the things was, obviously I talked to you before, and a lot of people had some concerns. What was your relationship with Tia? I know that you guys say it's a brother-sister relationship. I know that in the phone it said big sis, and you had said that that's what it was going to say inside the phone. That's how you had her saved. What is the relationship in your eyes, and what was it before? Has it changed at all through any of this?
I mean, she's still my big sister.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, I always look out for her. If you ask her mom, she'll tell you the same thing.
So, I mean, I talked to her mom, and that's what she said. My question too is, in your phone, you're saved as, you have her saved as Big Sis. In her phone, she has you listed as a female's name for both of your numbers. You know why that is?
I mean, I never went through her phone.
So this is her phone, and these are your numbers saved under this female name. And then that's the black phone you had, and then the IPH is the iPhone.
Well,
so why does she?
Sonya is my sister.
Mm-hmm. Does she? Your sister had both your numbers?
No, I'm talking about my big sister, my real sister. Her first name is Sonya.
Okay.
So I don't know why she has.
So why would she save you and her phone as that? If you guys are so close, why would she feel like she has to hide it?
I don't know. I don't go through her phone.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, was she worried that George? Did you guys talk a lot that George didn't know about? That she was gonna? She thought he was gonna be upset.
We always talked in front of George. So I mean, it wasn't just me. Several of her co-workers, but like she said, and if you'd ask her mom would tell you the same thing. Like her the boys, like we could be in the room.
Tia and Tim always spoke of their relationship as being like that of adopted siblings or cousins. which is the reason why George welcomed Tim into the house with open arms, completely unaware of what was going on behind his back. According to the kids, whenever George was away, Tia would spend the day inside Tim's room, and they could hear the two talking and joking. Typically, laughing and spending time with family members isn't anything strange, but that was exactly the problem. Tim wasn't, well, a typical family member or friend. He was much, much more than that. And despite Tim thinking it's a secret kept well hidden, detectives are about to prove him horribly wrong.
All right. So Tia reached out to you a lot to talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like I said when I remember that we had your phones before, I told you we can get everything that's deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that, obviously I have those emails. I have all those emails that Tia had sent you, okay? And in those emails, she talks about yours and hers relationship. And talks about how good you
From Tia?
Mm-hmm. So that's obviously my issue here, is that everything shows that you guys were having some kind of relationship. So I just want you to tell me why. And I know you know these were sent to you and you read them, because it shows us whether you opened it or not.
Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of Tim's actions. Who would have guessed that he'd lawyer up the moment detectives confronted him with his affair? Because if he hadn't, detectives would also have brought up his search history. And no, it isn't the spicy kind. A digital forensic analysis of Tim's phone found that he made several searches about poisons and snake venoms as far back as October, a month before the murder. And right afterwards, he was looking up cases with circumstances similar to George's murder. And while Tim's interrogation might end here, detectives are only getting started with Tia.
So what I want to do today is just kind of walk back through what you can remember. Sometimes over time, people remember things that they didn't remember the first time. I'll help kind of jog your memory as we go of things that you told me. Maybe you'll tell me something you didn't remember the first time, okay? So just start out that night. I know that you said you had gone, or you were in bed. Were you like in a deep sleep, or were you just kind of sleeping, or what was going on then?
As far as I remember, I was in a deep sleep.
Okay. And then what happened?
I heard two loud noises. I wasn't sure if it was firecrackers or what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I sat up on my bed, looked around. My baby boy was still asleep. If I remember correct, I think I went to Tim's room, but he wasn't there. His light was on.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember he was downstairs on the computer or a laptop at
Mm-hmm.
the table. I don't think I went to my mom's room right away. I think I went downstairs to where he was. And I think as I got almost down to the bottom step, he was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, did I hear it? I said, yeah, I heard it. He said, it sounded like shots. I said, I'm not sure if it was shots or firecrackers or what it was, because some people in our neighborhood that I knew, they periodically do firecrackers for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point he said he was going to go get his gun,
Mm-hmm.
go up to his room, go down and check, see. I remember him opening the door, shutting it pretty quick,
Mm-hmm.
telling me to call 911.
Mm-hmm. And that's when he told you that it was that George was out there. Okay.
And I called 911. The lady goes through the whole thing. What's your emergency?
Mm-hmm.
And then I told her that my husband was, well, we heard gunshots, and my brother opened the door and said that it was my husband. She
Okay.
needed to know, I think, where the shots were is what she needed to know. And yeah, that's the first thing she asked. I told her I couldn't do it. I couldn't go down there. So she said, is there anybody can look that can? I said, my brother. So he looked, told me what he thought he saw. So I relayed it to her. Then she wanted me to do CPR.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know CPR, first of all, and if I did, I don't think I'd have been able to gather myself to do it. I don't know. Could have, but I don't think so.
It's interesting to note that at the time of the murder, Tia was actively applying for positions in the medical field and had some basic first aid knowledge, which makes it all the more sickening that she just stood there and refused to do anything for her dying husband because she was squeamish.
Okay.
So she asked me, is there anybody that could? I asked him, could he do it? He said, yeah. At some point, I remember throwing my phone down so he could talk to the operator. And then at some point, I don't remember, at some point I went and got my mom. She wasn't asleep, I thought she was. She was in the room with the TV up loud.
Okay. So you were sleeping, you heard these shots, you come down, Tim's sitting at the table. You ask him if he heard that. He's like, yeah, he heard that. Did he go check out the door first, or did he go get his gun first?
If I remember right, I thought he went upstairs to get his gun first, but I didn't actually watch him go in there and get it.
Okay.
I think I remember him going up the steps, heading to his room, but I can't swear to it.
Okay, and you were on the platform?
Catwalk.
Oh, you were upstairs? On the catwalk thing?
Yeah, by the time he went down to check on George, that's where I was standing.
So he goes outside, he opens the door, he sees it's George. And I know at some point he put his gun up. When did he do that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was after. I don't know if it was after emergency people got. I don't know. I really can't be honest. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. So he goes outside. At some point, he puts his gun up. He sees George, and he tells you, "It's George" and whatnot. And then, is that when he tells you to call 911, or did you ever go down to the door, or no?
No, no. I never went to the door.
Okay.
I stood up at the top where you could see over the thing.
Okay.
All I could see was like his feet and legs on the door.
Okay.
I've got to give it to Tia and Harvey. The one thing they're good at is coordinating their stories. I guess several months would be more than enough to plan every single detail and word that comes out of their mouth. What they didn't plan for, however, were the brutal reality checks they'd get from cops.
But like I said, we've had people live with us before, not in this house. Me and George have taken in, I think Tim is the fourth person, not counting my mom. When we were married a little less than a year, we lived in Myrtle Beach in a one-bedroom apartment. A girlfriend of mine got put out, her and her baby. We took her in. She stayed 6 months. Slept on the couch in the living room. After her, I think a year later, another girlfriend with her 2 children stayed with us. So we've taken in, we hear people in need, but that's just what we've always done.
Okay.
I think the longest we've had anybody stay is Tim, but the 2 females, and I'm talking about in Myrtle Beach, one I think was 6 months and one was 9. And that was in a one-bedroom apartment.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, obviously, is I've talked to Tim, and one of the things that, I'll just be honest with you, in the beginning, issues with him is, we had talked to you, and you had told us what you had told us, and there was, I won't say there was much to that, but Tim just seemed, there was a lot more confrontation going on with him during the first interview and talking to him the day that you guys came up there, because of that whole tracker thing, which you said you didn't know.
So George came to me about it, but like I said, I never knew it was actually purchased and the whole nine. But.
Okay. So did you know the night that happened, before whatever was going on with you and Tim, that he had gone and retrieved that off the car?
No, not until you told me.
Okay.
I think it was at night. I was here on the 18th.
But what do you think about that? I mean, why?
Well, when you said it, I was floored because, like I said, first of all, I didn't even realize the tracker was ever purchased. And then when you told me that a neighbor or somebody saw him take it off, I found it really strange, and I even asked him about it later.
And what did he say?
I didn't ask him about it that night. He said with what George had going on or whatever about, remember I told you the guy who came to town? He said he just didn't want, I guess, George, I think he said he just didn't want George being exposed in a bad light or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But I haven't asked him anything about it since.
The tracker thing mentioned here is quite important. During the investigation, detectives found evidence that George's car had a tracker on it and that Tim and Tia were the ones who placed it there. This puts things into perspective. All night long on November 16th, Tia and Tim had been tracking George's movements and knew the exact time he would get home. Then, after killing him, they desperately tried to get rid of it. But how do we know that? Because a neighbor who looked out of his windows after hearing the gunshots saw Tim running away from the body towards George's car. And soon after, investigators learned the tracker had been removed.
Did you feel like that was, and I just want your opinion on it because I'll tell you how it looks to us. Do you think that was weird that in the moment that his friend is laying out on the front porch bleeding out, his first thought is to go to the car and pull that off instead of rendering aid to George?
Yeah, I found that weird. And that was before he did CPR?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I found that strange.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously I do. That's why I want to know.
Yeah.
We asked him and he admitted that he went and did it, and he didn't have a good answer. He didn't really have an answer as to why. He said he didn't want you to find it or the family to find it and they would know, but I said it's under the car. Who's going to look under the car? That's weird.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, let me just ask you, do you think that have you ever felt that he may have been involved in this in any way?
I don't. I mean, I know that part of it doesn't add up at all. But I personally, the only reason I don't, well, not the only reason, but I just never seen any beef between the two of them.
I tell you right now, I have a whole lot of stuff that points to Tim had something to do with it. Okay? And I know him and David were good friends and some stuff was going on. I went over there and just talked to him now. And obviously you guys knew you were coming up here and I wanted to follow up with him, but that's because I knew I was going to talk to him about the stuff that I had found, okay? I'll say that conversation went pretty quickly, okay? There's not a whole lot that he was going to be able to deny, okay? So I'm telling you that the investigation shows that he had something to do with it. The interesting part, though, is that he implicated you in it. He said you guys were in a relationship and that you were the mastermind behind all of this and it was your idea because you wanted the $1 million life insurance policy and he could take over George's job and you guys would be set to be together. And that was the whole deal.
Well, I can tell you that's a lie. That's a lie.
So I want to hear from you the truth and what was really going on, because if that's what he's telling me and I already know he's involved, you see how that makes it look?
Yeah, but I can tell you that's.
Okay, well tell me.
First of all, like I said, I don't know that he's involved. I don't know anything about what happened that night. Nothing.
Well, listen,
I didn't even know the policy was any good until me and Rob called a couple days later.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm used to struggling. Mm-hmm. Me and George have struggled our entire marriage financially. Mm-hmm. I would never hurt or take anybody's life for no money.
After George's death, officers found he had $1 million insurance in his name, and Tia was its sole beneficiary. Just one day after the murder, Tia had called George's colleagues asking them to help locate his insurance papers, informed the company of his death, and began questioning how and when to collect the money. This means that for months, this killer couple had been planning to steal $1 million from George, and this was their real motive.
I guess, obviously the concern is, I'm telling you, the thing with him is he got the tracker, he got it. He had tried to put some apps on George's phone before then, and he said George knew about those. I know for a fact George didn't know because I have his text messages where he explained to George that it was Zena, that Zena was trying to do that to him. But I know for a fact they only were signed up through his phone because I could tell that he did that. So he was trying to find ways to track George, and George didn't know it, which is why I have a hard time believing about him knowing that the tracker was going to be on the car, because he didn't know about the other stuff on the phone. Because why would you explain to him Zena did it and explain it away if he knew that's what you were trying to do? You would just tell him, this is what I'm doing. Because when he downloaded those apps, it sends a notification to the person you're trying to track. So George was like, why am I getting this notification? You're trying to track my phone. And he said, oh, well, Zena's been trying to track me, which is not true.
Okay, yeah, this is new to me.
Also, he was looking at that app for the tracker, which in his words is only supposed to be in case something was going to happen to him, to find the truck, not him, which is weird that you're only worried about the car and not him. And he was looking at it from the day that he bought it on the 6th. He was looking at it every single night. And he was looking at it the night before George came home.
You saw the night of the 16th?
Mm-hmm.
So the tracker sends a message to his phone? I mean, I'm confused.
Okay, so a couple of days prior to the murder, earlier in the month of November, he tried to download these apps on your phone, just like an iPhone app or a Samsung Android, I'm not sure how that one works, where you can track somebody's phone. Well, when you do that, you're not allowed to do that without their permission. So when you put in that person's number that you want to track, it sends them a notification. I have it on George's phone where he got the notification and then asked, Tim, why am I getting this? And he said, oh, Zena's trying to track me because of stuff going on with her. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry about it. But I know for a fact he signed up for it because it came to his email through his phone number that he signed up for it. He has to download the app on the phone. So you see what I'm saying? So George didn't know he was trying to track him. Otherwise, he would have been like, hey, I'm tracking you because we talked about this before. Remember?
Oh, okay. I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then he got that actual tracker and was using it, the one he put on the car.
Okay.
He was looking at that one on his phone.
Okay.
We have the app, and I can show every time he opened it, every single night from the night that he bought it up until the night of the murder. And he was looking at it the night of the murder before George got home. So he knew when George was going to be home because he was watching him on the map.
Zena was Tim's ex. So when George had asked about the suspicious notification, Tim had said it was because his ex, Zena, was trying to track him. but an analysis of Tim's phone showed that he had used his own email to sign up for the app and even received a confirmation email in the very same inbox where he was flirting with a married woman.
And before that,
he had somebody do it? I'm lost.
That's what I'm asking you.
Hell, I don't know. I have no idea.
Before that, he was researching all kinds of poisonous things online. He researched black mamba venom, which is the most venomous snake in the world. You cannot buy their venom online like he was trying to, over 27 times. That's how many times he looked it up to try to find. He tried to find the venom, then he tried to find breeders where he could buy the snakes himself. You see how that looks? And then a week later, you buy a tracker to put on his car, and then I know that you're looking at it the night of the murder. And the first thing you did, instead of helping your friend, was run out to the car and take the tracker off? Who does that? You know what I'm saying? In front of a jury, when you look at that, say, what would a reasonable person do? No reasonable person would jump over a dead body or somebody who's dying to go pull something off a car. That would be the last of their worries.
Right.
So that's my question to you. Now, the problem is that now he's bringing you into it.
I have nothing to do with it and know nothing about it. That's what I'm saying.
So you called the insurance the very next day, right?
The next day or 2 days later, I can't remember.
So it was the next day. And do you see how that looks, though?
But my mom can tell you if you talk to her. She started bothering me that next morning. Mm-hmm. She said, Tia, you need to, do you have insurance? How are you going to do a funeral or anything? And I said, Mommy, and she could tell you if you call her right now before I can even reach her. I said, Mama, I can't deal with that now. Mm-hmm. I'll worry about that later. I said, I'm overwhelmed with what just happened. Mm-hmm. And so she kept saying that. And matter of fact, it was her and I'm not sure. It might have been even after George's mom and his sisters arrived.
Why did you want to call the insurance that soon, though, the very next day?
That's what I'm saying. My mom is the one that kept telling me I needed to call.
Okay.
She kept, because she knew I didn't have a job. Mm-hmm. She said, how are you going to do a funeral if you don't know if he has a policy? Mm-hmm. And I said, Mama, I'll get to that in a couple of days. I said, right now I'm overwhelmed with what just happened. Mm-hmm. This was he died on Thursday. This was like Friday. Mm-hmm. When I had several people, like friends asking me, do you have insurance? Do we need to take out something for funeral? And I said, my mom keeps bugging me, but I haven't called yet. Mm-hmm. So then even Rob, when I talked to Rob said, do you know if Cuz had insurance? Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't know. Mommy keeps bugging me about calling. So that's when Rob said, well, let me look for the policy with you. And we'll call together before I leave. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't my first reaction. Like I said, you can call my mom right now and she would tell you. Okay. She was the one egging me on that I needed to call because she was worried about funeral expenses. She knows she only gets $1,300 a month. She knows I didn't have a job. So her big thing was, what are we going to do about a funeral with no money?
In his phone, he had you saved in his phone as Big Sis. You knew about that, right? Yeah. Okay. This is your phone from your phone. Why is he saved under Sonia under your phone, both of his phones?
That's just what I put in. His older sister name is Sonia.
Well, why would you do that though? Unless that looks like you're trying to cover up him being in your phone, like you didn't want George or somebody.
Oh no, there's quite a few people in my phone that I don't have under the actual name.
Okay. So one of the things that like I told him is that when we took his phones, we could get everything that was done. Okay. Mm-hmm. So obviously, I was able to retrieve everything that was off of his phone, okay? And so I have all of these emails that you sent him talking about yours and relationship. You remember those?
Yes.
Okay. So this is where we're at, Tia. Okay, I want you to listen to me. Mm-hmm. I know what's been going on. I know Tim's involvement. I also know there's a lot more that's been going on here, okay? What I want from you now is to understand all of this because what it looks like is you're this hateful, horrible spouse that connived with your live-in boyfriend to kill your husband for money. If that's how it is, then that's fine. You can tell me that. But if that's not what happened, then this is your only chance to tell me what was really going on.
That's not what happened.
Then tell me this is your only chance to tell me what's really going on because everything else looks really bad. And I'm telling you right now, if you put all of this in front of a jury without your explanation of it, that's exactly what they're going to think.
I did not have anything to do with George's death.
Okay.
And definitely nothing dealing with him wanting him dead for money. Nothing. At all.
Okay. So you're willing to let all of that stand in front of a jury?
Yes, as far as having anything to do with his death, yes, I am. I am. Because I know I had nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Okay, but you've been having a relationship with Tim. What has he said to you?
He hasn't never said anything about wanting to hurt George ever or taking over the business. That's why I'm sitting here like, this is new to me. He's never said he wanted to take over Metro Atlanta security. He's never told me he wanted George dead. He never said he was going to try to hurt George. Never. Not once.
All right. So George got home at 11:23, okay? And he had just gotten off the phone. And when he got off the phone, he came inside, or came to open the door. And that's when people remember hearing the shots around that same time, too, okay? The 911 call was not placed till 10 minutes later when you guys called. Now, in that time, I've gone over the story with you multiple times, and you've told me that he opened the door, he saw it was George and all of that. So I can tell you that when I go back and listen to the 911 call, that it is absolutely 100% completely staged. The things you told the dispatcher, you had already done and already said.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't, and I wasn't.
Why not?
Because he told me to call 911, and that's exactly what I did, and everything the lady asked me. And then
while you're on the phone with her, he says, oh, there's somebody got shot. And then he says, oh, can you send an ambulance? My brother now says it's my husband that was hit. But you already knew that.
I did. When I made the call, when he told me to call 911, the lady asked me, I said, I heard some shots. She asked me, I believe she asked me, I don't know, I think she might have asked me, did I know who it is or whatever. I don't remember. I don't remember all the details. But what I'm saying is, when I called, it was not staged. I called as soon as I heard the shots, went and found Tim. Well, what I thought at first was firecrackers. I wasn't sure what it was. Okay. And went and found Tim. And he checked and told me whatever the time frame was to call 911. That's what I did. Okay. I did not stage the conversation or any of that.
Okay.
It wasn't just emails and search history that they recovered. Investigators also found memes that Tia had shared with Tim. More specifically, it depicted a fortune teller reading a crystal ball, telling a woman, your husband will meet a violent end. And the woman responds, will I be convicted? Ironically, Tia's situation here is the answer to that part of the meme.
So you were pursuing this relationship because even in your emails, it sounds like Tim was trying to cut it off and you were the one that was continuously talking to him and continuing it, right?
I was hurt about it, yeah, because I found out he was, he had told me he wasn't talking to Zena anymore. He wasn't messing with, anybody else anymore. Just kind of got caught in some lies, and I questioned him about it.
So, these messages were in that phone, okay, the day that we went to go do the search warrant when you called Kim and told her to go get the phone. Is this what you were worried that we were going to find?
To be honest, yes.
Well, that's what I want is honesty.
To be honest, yes, I was.
Okay, because this looks really bad.
To be honest, yes. I was very afraid of that part, yes.
On November 17th, 2017, a day after George's murder, Tim and Tia were taken to the police station for interviews. While waiting there, Tia had called a family friend to go into her room and hide her and Tim's phone. Her friend found the request suspicious and refused to carry it out. But this was only the tip of the iceberg when it came to Tia's attempts to hide the murder. In a TV interview, she revealed that she made the following request to 911 dispatchers.
Begged when I called 911, I begged them not to turn sirens on because I didn't want my kids to see him.
Officers obviously could not comply with this and turn their sirens on. But by the time they arrived, they found the children not only slept through the loud sirens, but had slept through the gunshots as well. Questioning them, it was clear that they were not deep sleepers. Rather, investigators concluded the children had likely been given sleeping pills by Tia before George was shot. So not only is she a horrible wife, she's a horrible mother too.
How come that most of the messages and phone calls from you and Tim are deleted in your phone, but they're all in his?
I mean, were you talking about the phones you have? Yeah, I would delete them. I would periodically delete them. Okay. There's even another coworker that I talked to that I would delete the calls from.
All right. And that night, you gave your middle son the Unisom, correct?
Yeah, but I give him, he gets that a couple times.
Yeah, well, he had before, but when we spoke to him, he said he hadn't gotten it in a long time, and that was the very first night he'd gotten it in a long time, in over a month.
It had probably been a couple of weeks, I guess.
You see what I'm saying, though? That night, the night that he normally goes out in the middle of the night between 9 and midnight is the night your husband comes home at 11 p.m. and gets killed. It makes it look like you gave it to him so that he wouldn't wake up during that time period. And it's also weird that we're there, the ambulance comes, the police come, we walked in their rooms and went everywhere, and none of them woke up in any of that.
But I asked. Me and my mom both asked everybody that came in the house. My mom, she was the first one that started asking, please be quiet. My grandchildren are asleep. My daughter doesn't want the kids to wake up.
I know, but the ambulance and everybody coming in and out, and none of them ever woke up.
But
that's the first night he got that pill? You see what I mean?
It's not the first time he had it. That's what I'm saying.
In a while.
It had been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I don't give it to the oldest one, and I don't give it to the baby. Well, I've had to start giving it to the youngest one now to be able to get some sleep. Mm-hmm. Either Benadryl, I'll give him Benadryl, or either a Unisom. He doesn't get it every night, but he can't sleep since George died. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my middle son is the only one that will walk and pace the house 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then don't want to get up for school the next day. Mm-hmm. My oldest one, I don't think I've ever had to give him anything for sleep. But he slept through everything because we were quiet. We asked the police would they be quiet as much as possible. When some guy came around, he had to take pictures of the rooms. I asked him, was there any way he could not go in that room where the boys...
But why was that your concern? Even on the 911 call, you tell them don't come lights and sirens. Your husband is laying out on the front porch dying, and you're worried about the kids waking up?
I didn't want my kids to see my husband bleeding to death on the front porch, Mr. Smith.
I understand that to an extent, but I just think you would be worried about him and not... I mean, your kids are going to find out.
I wanted her to send help, but I didn't want her to just... If my kids had saw their dad laying in the front doors dead, I didn't want them to have that picture in their mind. Mm-hmm. I feel like any mom would have done, just like my mom did it for me. When my dad committed in 07, I was upstairs sleeping in the basement. Mm-hmm. She let me sleep upstairs and did not wake me up until she was hoping he would be removed from the basement before they woke me up. But I ended up waking up on my own because of the commotion. Mm-hmm. But that's the same thing my mom did for me, and I was a grown woman, but she didn't want me to wake up and see my dad in the basement. And I was in my 30s when he died. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Tia. It doesn't look good. And I'm telling you right now that I have no reason to lie to you because I have all this information to go in there that I went in there and talked to him. And I just went in there with him. I didn't come in here and sit down and talk to him like I did you. I went in there and laid all of this out in front of him. And that's what he told me.
Well, I don't know why he would.
So why would he do that?
I don't know. I guess if he feels like he's going down, maybe he's just going to try to take me with him. I don't know. I would never imagine him doing that, but that's the only thing I can figure.
Okay, but what about the $1 million life insurance policy? And you guys being in a relationship, all of that stuff together.
Mr. Smith, I don't never get the $1 million. I could care less. And I voiced that to my mom, my aunts. George's mom can tell you. Mm-hmm. She can tell you. I've been saying it for the past 2 or 3 months. Because she's worried about it. When are you going to get paid? What are you going to do with the kid? How are you going to... I said, Margie, I'm to the point I don't give a shit if I don't ever get the money. I'm just tired of all the stress. I just want to move on. This grief, dealing with BJ, dealing with all the things I'm dealing with. I don't give 2 shits about the money if I don't ever get it. I know how to work. That's what I've been doing the past 2 or 3 years. Working $15,000, $20,000 of overtime a year. Mm-hmm. I know how to work. So if I don't get it, it's fine. That's why if you call me to my mom, they can tell you I ain't called in months. Mm-hmm. I don't care anymore. So the money is not an issue for me. I mean, yes, I need money, and we all do need money to live, but if I don't ever get it, that's fine. Matter of fact, I even have, the courts gave me, I got his probate, whatever you call it, executive estate paperwork. I think it was like January 25th, maybe. I've only been to one bank to see if there was money in it, and that was Regions. And I knew that's where his paycheck went, his last paycheck went. But I think he has a Wells Fargo account. I think he has a Bank of America account. I haven't been to any of them banks with the statements to try to see what's in them, to see if I could get it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Even my mom keeps saying, Tia, with the way money is tight around here, why don't you go to those banks and see what he has? It might be something to help this household. I still haven't been. So money, that's what I'm saying, to make this out like I'm doing it for money. Or it's done for money.
I'm telling you that's what it looks like, and that's what he's telling me.
Well, that's some bull. I can tell you that. That's some bull. Yes, I will admit, and I apologize for lying. I am very embarrassed about this. I really am. Mm-hmm. I am.
And you guys are still in a relationship now?
Yes, to be honest, yes. I'm just going to be honest.
Well, that's what I want. Because listen, Tia, I'm telling you this is how it looks, and I keep telling you this. He's going to try to take you down with him. And I'm telling you, when he gets up there and he starts talking about everything and what you did, and you don't have anything to counter that, and you don't have a way to say, no, that's BS because this is actually what happened, and this is what he told me, or that's right there is going to be a huge issue. You see what I'm saying? Are you ready to go to jail today for this?
No, because I know I'm guilty of this,
Then
and
tell
this is
me.
wrong.
Then tell me.
This is wrong.
There's no way he's been living under your roof and you've been in a relationship and you don't know that something was happening.
As far as
all of this
you
stuff.
talking about hurting George, no, that part I don't.
Tia,
That part
no
I don't.
way.
That part I don't. The affair, I'm very, very embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how embarrassed I am. I really am. I'm sorry that
So
I never
much
told
that you
you.
continued it past your husband dying?
The first 2 months we did. It started back up around the 1st of March. The first couple of months we didn't. We called it up. We just stopped because I'm going to tell you the truth. I was afraid that my boys would end up picking up on something is wrong or catching us kissing or something. So we both said the boys have been through enough and I didn't want to chance them seeing anything inappropriate to send them off. Because I'm sure it would hurt them deeply that I'm talking to Tim and Daddy's just not too long ago died. So I think it might have been like the middle of February or 1st of March when we kind of gotten talk, kind of get romantic again. But up until then, no.
Okay. So you don't know anything about
Nothing about the crime. I do not know nothing.
Why do you think if he loves you and he's been in a relationship with you and you guys have had this ongoing relationship and he has stayed with you through all of this, that he is so easily going to bring you into this with him?
I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Smith. I don't know. I don't know why he's saying that I knew he wanted to take over the business, that I did it for money, that I know he had anything to... I don't know. I do not know. I'm sitting here I don't know. Because I know nothing about it. Nothing. All I know is what happened that night. That's all I know. And then when I came here the 18th and y'all talked to me. That's all I know.
But the problem is that I'm talking about all these tracker things and things too, and I'm telling you George didn't know anything about that. There's nothing to show that he knows about it.
The only part I don't get is I know George came to me talking about the tracker. When the white, I think it was a white Infiniti SUV, those couple of encounters he had with that. Then when I told him about the Carlos guy, it was, I don't know if it was days. I can't say if it was days or
But
weeks.
don't you think he would have went to someone who could have helped him, like Rob or Antoine or somebody else that knows something about security, that knows something? Why would he only tell you and Tim? No one else knew anything about that.
I don't know. Just like it doesn't make sense to me that Rob didn't know Tim stayed there. That still blows my mind. That's a question I wish I could ask George. Like I said, I did not know. So to me, George did certain things for certain reasons. Why he didn't tell Rob that Tim lived there? And Rob even knew Tim. They worked on sites together. And that's what Rob kept saying, Tia, we worked together. Why wouldn't cuz tell me? I don't know.
In the interview that took place right after the murder, Tia claimed George saw a white SUV twice in the weeks leading to his murder. Allegedly, the driver had even attempted to run George off the road. This, for a lack of a better word, is a load of baloney. There was never any suspect in the case besides Tim and Tia from the get-go. Mr. White SUV is as imaginary as the crystal ball Tia was getting advice from.
So, but again, like I said, all these things, the 911, the different stories every time, only you guys knowing the SUV, the life insurance policy, him going out to his car, you guys being in a relationship, all of this other stuff, the tracker, these things like that I can show and prove, the things that he's done. And I know that you guys are in a relationship because you both admitted to it. And then, the only time that your son had gotten the unisom was in the middle of that night. I'm telling you, that's how it looks. That is how all of this looks. And I'm telling you that that's how a jury would see it.
Okay, but Ms. Smith, not being a smart. If I was going to give, why would I just give the middle one unisom? I didn't give my oldest one unisom. I didn't give the baby boy unisom.
Well, I don't know that you didn't. I mean, did you?
No, I didn't. You can ask them. I'm sure y'all probably asked the boys that day.
One because he's the only one that got up in those hours that George was coming home that night. You see what I mean?
No, both of my oldest two stay up late. Just the middle one stays up to 2 and 3, pacing the house, going in my mom's room talking. But the older two, both of them stay up late. It's even my oldest one. There's nothing for him to be up to 12, 1 o'clock. The middle one is the only one I think has insomnia that roams around the house to 2 and 3.
And you remember George talking about that week of the murder that he was going to fix the cameras, and him and Donald were going to fix the cameras outside.
Not that week. The boys told me that.
Okay.
I wasn't present. I didn't know nothing about it.
You see how that kind of put a timeline on it, that it had to be moved up? Because if they waited another week for George to be killed, then the cameras would have been working. So the person that did it knew that. They knew the cameras were going to be working soon, and they had to do it then.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Couldn't follow what you were saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying, but I didn't get what you were saying. Like I said, I didn't know nothing about the conversation until the boys told me after. I think when the news interviewed us or something, and the boys said that their dad had talked to them about training. I think he was gonna let my oldest one watch him do the cameras or whatever, because he would take him in the summer. But my thing is I just found out not too long that the daggone the neighbor across the street told me that the cameras at the pool at the house wasn't working. So she said it was something with the computer that powers the cameras was down. But I mean, I know I didn't have nothing to do with that either. But I mean, I'm sure that looked suspicious that the cameras at the pool house weren't working. I ain't have nothing to do with that. I don't think he had nothing to do with it.
I'm just saying all the stuff that I've explained to you. You see how that all adds up?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
So that's why I was hoping that you had an explanation.
I don't have no explanation. As far as the murder, no, I have no explanation for that. None. And if, like I said, I can give you a list of people you can call before I even have access to my phone. They will tell you Kim, Candace, Trina. I can name 4 or 5 that I've told over the past few months. I don't give a shit if I don't ever get the money. It ain't about, and a lot of them don't know how much it is, but they know I have a life insurance policy. And I told them, I just want this stress to be over. I'm tired of the stress. The money, I could care less. And like I said, my mom will tell you right now, she's pissed because I won't go to Wells Fargo and Bank of America to see what money's in there and take it out. Because she said, Tia, we need it to live. I told her I don't want to deal with nothing. When I get depressed, I deal with depression anyway.
Does your mom know about the relationship?
No.
Between you and Tim?
No, she doesn't.
Does anybody else know?
In the house, no. No.
What about outside the house?
One girlfriend of mine named Candace. Candace he used to date. A different Candace. She doesn't know all the details, but she knows that we had something going last year.
I'm telling you, Tia, he's gonna take you down in a ball of fire with him.
Well, he'll be doing it with a bunch of lies. Because I had I will admit. I'm embarrassed to stand before a jury to admit it, but if I have to, I have to. I mean, it happened. I lied about it, and I'm sorry. I mean, it was embarrassing and I did. But as far as the murder, I ain't got shit to do with it. Don't know nothing about it. Had nothing to do with it. Nothing. I know nothing about it. Nothing.
And you never suspected him in all of this? Ever?
No, not until y'all brought up the night you had to come in on the 18th, and y'all kept saying he took the tracker off that night. Like I said, I wasn't quite aware that it was before the CPR, and I think y'all told me.
I think it was all. That's what I'm telling you. It was all done before I think you even knew or came downstairs. If that's what happened.
I don't understand. Like, was his weapon used in it?
Maybe. That's why I want to know.
I have no idea.
Because I don't want him to take you down with him and make you out to be this horrible monster if there's something that you know and you're just wanting to protect him.
No,
this is not the time.
Nope, there's nothing. The only thing, like I said, that I have to admit now to the world, I guess, is the affair.
Well, I don't want you to protect him.
I'm not protecting him. I have to own the things that I'm guilty of. I will own it at this point. The affair, I'm very embarrassed, and I know my mom and my children would be very hurt by it. But if it has to come out, it has to come out. But anything beyond a freaking affair, that's it. That's the only thing I'm guilty of, is having an affair. Yes, and I'm not belittling it like it's nothing. I know that's a big thing. So I'm not saying it like, oh, that's all I did. But that is the only damn thing I'm guilty of, is that. That is it. And is it wrong? Is it dirty? Is it treacherous? Yes. But I will own it. That is what happened.
Okay.
And if I need to, I mean, you have to tell me. Do I need to go ahead and tell my children about their affair?
I don't tell your children. That's not my job. I don't tell people that.
Okay. I didn't know whether I needed to go home and go ahead and tell them.
No, I don't.
Now, will you be telling? I know you. It's up to you whether you tell me or not. Will you be telling his mom and his sisters about it?
About the affair?
Yes.
I don't discuss those types of things. If he was charged or somebody's charged him, then I will tell him, hey, so-and-so's been charged in the murder, but I'm not going to go divulge
everything. Because I prefer, if you're going to tell him, I'd rather tell him first.
Okay.
That's the one I'm asking.
All right. Well, let me go talk to him again, okay?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you need right now?
No, but I'm going to have to, my son needs to get to practice at 5:30.
Okay. All right.
Ultimately, Tia and Tim got far less than the ideal $1 million fairy tale that they were hoping for, and went on to face trial. During this time, George's children could not receive the $1 million from the insurance, as Tia's trial had to conclude first, leading to worries that it might take years before the children had the money to support themselves. Fortunately, a GoFundMe was set up for them, and just 2 years later their father's killers would be made to pay for their crimes. On April 15, 2019, Tim was found guilty of malice murder, felony murder, an aggravated assault, and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Tia was found guilty of the same charges and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.